Today's message is going to be called Boots on the Ground. Boots on the ground. Boots on the ground. And we will be in Jeremiah 12. And we're going to focus on the first four verses, but we're going to really dive into the fifth verse. So here, if I give you a bit of a backstory here, a small segment of people in the tribe of Israel have become frustrated because life is not going their way. As a matter of fact, a small section from this tribe of Judah is upset because they have watched their friends and relatives get freed from bondage, and they're still enslaved. And they have somewhat become frustrated because they have watched some other people do well. And I want to talk a second on this because I feel and sense that there is a number of people in our church or in our sphere of influence who have become frustrated with life because things are not going their way. You've watched other people get promoted, and your promoted have yet to come down the pike. Some single lady has watched their friends get married, and they're still single. Somebody else have watched their friends move into their new house. Someone else has watched their friends be recognized in ministry. Yet someone else is frustrated because life is just not going their way. You're in a similar situation that the tribe of Judah found themselves in. Frustrated and upset that life is not going their way. As a matter of fact, they are feeling that God has rejected and forgotten about them. Is that anybody else in here that felt that way? That God has forgotten about you. It is in this group of people that the prophet Jeremiah has been given instructions to go and talk to. Jeremiah goes and talks to them, and they give Jeremiah the assignment to go and talk to God on their behalf. And it is in this the first four verses of this chapter 12, that Jeremiah goes and talks to God on behalf of this disgruntled group of people. So I want you all to walk with me through the first four verses, and let's see what Jeremiah says to God. The first verse, it starts out, it says, "Righteous are you, O Lord, when I plead with you." In other words, God, when I come to you and plead, you hear us. You got it right on. You're on point. You make the right calls. And then he goes on to say, "Yet, let me talk to you about some of your judgments." Meaning, I have some issues with some of your latest decisions. And then he begins to peel off a number of questions to God. He says, "Why does the ways of the wicked prosper?" Meaning, why are wicked people doing so well? Anyone ever felt like this? Been upset and frustrated, mad because folk that don't go to church, ain't thinking about church, ain't living right, ain't trying to live right, ain't trying to do the holy thing. But here you are, living for the Lord, doing the best you know how, in church every single Sunday, Bible study every single Wednesday, prayer call every single Tuesday, cross around your neck, Bible under your arms, paying your tithes and offering, and you wake up in the morning, you walk outside praying that your hoopty start while your neighbor is washing their brand new car. Now you like, what's up with this guy? Here I am. I go out and hope my car start, and this joker ain't seen the inside of a church driving his new car. That's what they were saying. Why does the ways of the wicked prosper? Why are those happy who deal so treacherously? Meaning, why are people who are so mean and nasty seem to be so happy? You ever met people like that? Having like going on about their day, just treating people any kind of way, mean and nasty, but they seem like they're prospering. In verse 2, he goes on to further articulate his feelings. He says, "You planted them, yes. They have taken root. They grow, yes. They bear fruit. Here's what he's saying. They are here because of you, God, right? They're doing everything they're doing because of you. You planted them. They're bearing fruit. And it's all because of you." And everyone knows that no matter how well things are going in your life, no matter how many letters you have behind your name, how many zeros you have in your account, you're only there because of the mercy of God. Because of the mercy of God. He says, you planted them. They've taken root. They bear fruit. They're growing. But then he says in the latter part of verse 2, he says, "You are near in their mouth, but far in their mind." but far from their mind. This is a crowd, he's saying, we recognize them. They know how to talk church lingo around church people. They know how to say all the right things. Now, we met them people that know how to talk church lingo around church people, but as soon as they get around their friends, they flip just like a chameleon. They flip there, right there. That's what he's saying. They know how to talk church, but their hearts are far from you. But then he goes on to verse 3 and says, but you, O Lord, you know me. I'm your dog. I'm your boy. I'm your boy. You know me. You have seen me. You have tested my heart towards you. He said, you know that I have it going on. You know that we got it going on. Then he says, pull them out like sheep for the slaughter and prepare them for the days of slaughter. Now, this is very interesting because what he's in essence doing is raising a false theological statement. He's saying, here's what he's suggesting to God. These wicked people who are prospering so well, take them out. Take them out and kill them. Now, everybody looking straight ahead. There's some people that you wouldn't be mad about if God just wiped off the earth, right? Okay. So he's saying, you know how some mean and nasty people, that God, you wouldn't be upset if God just wiped them out. He's suggesting to God that lead them to the slaughter and kill them. And that the reason he's making suggestions is because of his error in theology. He somehow feels that the blessings that would have came to them somehow mistakenly ended up with wicked people. And truth be told, some of us have that same jacked up theology. You think that what God has for you has landed on the wicked's doorstep and God needs to kill them so that you'll get your blessing. Now, let me tell you this. What God has for you is for you. What's got your name on it, it's not going to arrive at someone else's doorstep. Matter of fact, you don't need to be feeling no type of way because of what God did for someone else. Because if God bless your neighbor, that means he's in the neighborhood. He's in the neighborhood. So instead of being jealous of your neighbor, you should be saying, God bless them. Let me wait and see what he has for me. If he opened doors for that church going joker, not non-tithe paying, don't know a single verse in the Bible, don't go to Bible study. If he did that for them, I can't wait to see what he's going to do for me. I can't wait to see what he's going to do for me. Now, we never have to be jealous of what God does for someone else. Now, here he is making a suggestion to God. Kill him, lead him to the slaughter and take him out. That's his erroneous theology. But then he goes on to give another part of his messed up thinking in verse 4. He says, how long will the land mourn and the herbs of the field wither? The beasts and birds consume for the wickedness of those who dwell there. Let me read this again. How long will the land mourn and the herbs of the field wither and the beasts and the birds consume for the wickedness of those who dwell there? Here's what he's saying. He said, our land is mourning and the herbs of the fields are withering away. We are going through these tough economic times, challenging times, because of the wickedness of the people who dwell there. He has somehow come to the conclusion that the judgment comes from to the nation somehow because of wicked people. And on the surface, that sounds true. But here's the truth. God doesn't judge a nation because of the wickedness of the wicked people. Wicked people can't do nothing but be wicked. The reality of the situation is God judges a nation not because the wickedness of the wicked people, but because the righteous people fail to live righteous. And we can go down through history and look at case after case. Even when God would destroy a city, he would say, if I can find 10 righteous people, I'll hold back my judgment. If I can find the righteous doing right, I'll hold back my judgment. God judges a nation not because the wickedness of wicked people, but because of those people who claim to be righteous fail to do right. So they have somehow drawn the conclusion. And then he goes on the last part to say, because he said, he will not see our final end. The wicked have concluded that God won't see them. He's pleaded his case to God. Now, after he spends the first 4 verses pleading his case to God, in verse 5, there's a shift. Y'all should thank God for the shift. There's a shift. There's a shift because in verse 5, God begins to answer Jeremiah. God answers Jeremiah, and he says in verse 5, if you have run with the footmen and they have wearied you, then how can you contend with the horses? Let me read that again. Y'all missed a great place to shout. If you have run with the footmen and they have wearied you, then how can you contend with the horses? This is what he says. This is jam-packed for a sermon for another day. But I want to uncover a few things here. Now, I know that this is not the type of message to make you jump up and all that. But I just want you to get a hold of one concept, and it'll change your life forever. He says, if you have run with the footmen and they have worn your butt out, how can you contend with the horsemen? And if the land of peace in which you are trusted, they wearied you, then how will you do in the footplain of Jordan? And I want to divide this into two parts. God says, if you have run with the footmen and they have worn you out, then what you going to do when the horses come? What you going to do when the horses come? So first I want to talk about the footmen. Somebody say footmen. I want to talk about the footmen. Now, back in the day, they had a war. When they had a war with the nation, they was going to attack another nation. When they was going to attack another nation, one kingdom would go against another kingdom, and they would bring their armies to attack. The history teaches us that they would bring their weapons and their armies, and they would first send thousands and thousands of foot soldiers against the nation they were attacking. They weren't very strong, and they weren't very powerful. There was just a lot of them. There was just a lot of them. There was just a lot of them there. They would send them to weed out and thin out the opposing army. So they knew that some of their footmen was going to die. When they sent them out, they knew that some of their footmen was going to die. They knew they were going to be defeated. They expected them to go in and weaken the opposing army soldier. And God is in essence saying to Jeremiah and the people of Judah that that what you're facing are footmen soldiers. There are a whole lot of them coming, and they're coming in swarms, one after another, one challenge after another, one situation after another, one bill after another, one problem after another. It looks like a lot of them, and it is a lot, but they don't have much power and authority there. It won't do much damage, but it can wear you out. It can wear you out. And I'm not sure who I'm speaking to today, but God is calling most of your problems footmen problems. Much of what you're facing, brothers and sisters, are nothing more than footmen problems. It's just one thing after another. You pay one bill, here's another bill coming. One thing break down, you just got it fixed, here's another thing. You deal with one issue at work, and before the ink dries on that, here's another issue. Just one problem after another. You get one thing worked out on your job, and here's another thing and here's another thing here. And here's what God's saying is, those problems are footmen problems. And that's what I come to tell you today. Some of the things that you're facing today are nothing more than footmen problems. Gossip and slander, footmen problems. Nobody understands you, footmen problems. Lied on, cheated, talked about, footmen problems. Fights and disagreements, footmen problems. Sometimes up, sometimes down, footmen problems. Being rejected by people you care about the most, footmen problems. Not enough money to pay your bills, footmen problems. Husband won't bring the money home, footmen problems. Wife won't give you none, footmen problems. Footmen problems is what you're facing. Kids won't do right, footmen problems. You're struggling in school, footmen problems. Can't agree on things with key people in your life, footmen problems. Can't find a job, footmen problems. They won't promote you on the job that you have, footmen problems. In a relationship you can't leave, footmen problems. What I'm telling you, the problems that you're facing today are nothing more than footmen problems. Now here's the thing about footmen. Here's the thing about footmen. You have to celebrate footmen. You have to give God praise for the footmen and celebrate that because God called them just footmen. And the mere fact that you're still running with them. The mere fact that you're still running with them. Instead of complaining about this problem after problem, this challenge after challenge, you have to learn to thank God that you should have lost your mind. But you didn't. But you didn't. You should have quit, but you didn't. You should have had a nervous breakdown, but you didn't. You should have walked out, but you didn't. All the stuff that has come your way, you have lost, and you should be lost and out of your mind, but you're still here. You should have cussed them out, but you bit your tongue. Footmen problems. Footmen problems. You've been running with the footmen. You're gaining your strength right now. You're running with them. And even though they keep coming one thing after another, it feels like it's never going to end. God sent me here to tell you that you have to learn to celebrate footmen and the fact that you're still here. You've got your boots on the ground. You've got your boots on the ground. Again, you should have lost your mind, but you're still here. But you're still here. And not only should you celebrate that you're still running with the footmen, but you should celebrate because it indicates that you're heading in the right direction. You got to celebrate footmen because footmen, it means that you're heading in the right direction. It means you're headed in the right direction. Now, some of you say, what are you talking about? Here's what I'm saying. You celebrate footmen because the devil will never throw obstacles in your way if you head into hell. Never. He will never throw obstacles in your way. He would never try to slow you down if you were headed where he wanted you to go. The fact that you got issue after issue means that you're heading in the right way. You're heading in the right way. You're heading towards the assignment on your life. The closer you get, the more intense footmen come. You have to learn how to thank God because you're getting to the brink of your breakthrough, to the place that God has ordained you to be. It means you're heading in the right direction. Somebody tell someone, I'm heading in the right direction. I'm headed in the right direction. With all the hell that you're going through and all of these challenges, all the bad phone calls you've been receiving, all these things that you're battling, the stuff that's trying to take you out, you are heading in the right direction. And you celebrate not only because you're still here and not only because you're headed in the right direction, but because footmen are precursors to horsemen. So if you have the footmen coming, that means soldiers and horses are coming next. If this is tough, what's coming must be really tough. Must be really tough. I didn't expect to get too many amens there. I didn't expect to get too many amens there. But so what I'm saying is that if you're feeling the footmen coming, you should celebrate. And you may ask, why should you be celebrating? Glad you asked. Because what you're going through now is preparing you for what's to come. Preparing you for what's to come. The present trials you are facing are designed to prepare you for your future. So why should you be excited, you may ask? So someone knows what I'm talking about here. Why should you be excited? And this is the point that I got my breakthrough. Because the greater the trial, the greater the blessing. The greater the trial, the greater the blessing. The bigger the giant, the bigger the blessing. The heavier the challenge, the greater the victory. Somebody get ready because what's coming down the pike after all the hell that you've been facing means that you're going to have a huge blessing. Bigger than what you could have ever dreamed. Bigger than what you could have ever imagined. Celebrate your footmen. If you only knew where God was about to take you, you will stop moping, you will stop complaining, you will stop crying, and you will learn to lift your hand and say, I'm heading somewhere special, somewhere great in my life. With all the drama you've been going through, all the pain that you've been witnessing, you must be about to step into something big. And the Bible gives testimony after testimony. Testimony after testimony here. Joseph had to be rejected by his brothers, sold into slavery, lied on by his boss's wife, cast to jail by his boss, forgotten by his jailmates. He had to go through all of this just so he can be the number 2 man in Egypt. He had to go through all of this just to be the number 2 man. He had to go through hell just to get from the pit to the palace. Somebody get ready to go from the pit to the palace. Daniel had to be thrown into the lion's den. The Hebrew boys had to go through the fiery furnace. Listen to this. The woman with the issue of blood carried that issue for 12 years. Spent her time going through and no one could heal her. Sick for 12 years. And when Jesus came in town, she touched the hem of his garment. She went through 12 years, 12 doctors. She went through 12 doctors, 12 doctors. And Jesus came in town and she touched the hem of his garment. And what's huge about this, when she touched him, Jesus stopped everything. He stopped everything. And he said, somebody touched me. Somebody touched me. And I know y'all didn't give a big shout about that. But listen to me. Back in those days, women weren't considered people. They were considered property. They was considered property. Jesus gave her status. Jesus gave her status. Because he didn't say something touched me. He said somebody touched me. Jesus had to be crucified and buried in order to be resurrected. You gotta go through something. And the problem with this generation is we don't want to deal with anything. We become weak. At the sign of the first sign of adversity, we want to run. We want to run. We want to run. We want the reward without going through the challenge. And my assignment here is to tell you, you got to go through something to get where you're going. God is just as much part of the process as he is the promise. He is just as much part of the process as he is the promise. So suck it up, girlfriend. Suck it up, boyfriend. Gird up your loins, strengthen yourself, encourage yourself, make up your mind that you're not quitting, you're not giving up. You're not going to walk away, because greater is he that is in you, that is great than he that is in the word. You got to put your boots on the ground if you want to run with horsemen. Now that's just the footman. That's just the footman. The second part of this saying, I want to talk about the horses. Tell someone the horses are coming. Horses are coming. Horses are coming. The horses are coming. Now, horses are strong. They're fast. They can endure long distances. The average horse walks 22 miles a day. 22 miles a day. A horse can run full speed for several miles. For several miles. Not trotting. Full speed. They can run whether it's hot or it's cold. They can rest while they're standing. Y'all missed a good place to shout. Y'all missed a good place to shout. Horses, they can rest while they're standing. God is going to give you the ability to rest right where you are. In the midst of everything that you're going through, God wants you to be stronger than a horse. He wants you to be faster than a horse. He wants you to endure distances longer than a horse. He's going to give you the ability to run in the heat and in the cold, when it's going well and when it's going not so well. He's going to give you the ability to rest even while you're standing. Now check this out. Look at verse 5. Look at verse 5. He said, if you have run with the footmen and they have wearied you, then how can you contend with the horses? Here's something that God is trying to unveil to us. He's trying to make us understand that it is his expectation for us to contend with horses. In normal sense and to the natural eye, if you put a man up against a horse, we will never be able to outlast the horse. Never be able to outlast the horse. But in this verse, he implies that it is his expectation to contend with the horses. How can I break this down? In the natural, you can't contend with the horse. In the natural, you can't fight with the horse. In the natural, you can't outlast the horse. You can't outrun a horse. But God says, I'm going to give you the supernatural ability to do what you can't do in your own power and strength. And again, I don't know who I'm talking to, but God is saying he's going to give you the power. He's going to meet you right where you are. He's going to meet you right where you are. When you can't do it by your own power and strength, that's where he's going to meet you, and he's going to marry you, and he's going to use his strength to take you to the next dimension of glory. That's where we're going. We're going from glory to glory to glory. We're graduating. We're graduating. We are graduating. Don't be discouraged. Don't get mad. Don't quit. But God is going to help you do supernaturally that which you are not able to do on your own. Now let me give my testimony. Here I am, no seminary degree, standing in front of you today. I am unqualified to be where I am naturally, so God gave me supernaturally what I was unable to provide for myself naturally. I got my boots on the ground. I'm running with the horses. I'm running with the horses. Here I am. Here I am. Spent most of my life fighting for a relationship years and years and years that God told me to stay out of. And at that minute I put my boots on the ground, God gave me the strength. And he did for me supernaturally what I wasn't able to do for myself naturally. And here I am with my beautiful wife, bearing our beautiful child. I got my boots on the ground and I'm running with the horses. I'm running with the horses. I pray to God, God, use me, oh God, use my blessings, use my anointing, oh God, to help bless people. Couldn't figure it out on my own. I put my boots on the ground, and I'm here before you now. And I'm here before you now. I've helped thousands of homeless people right under our nose in Charlotte, helped serve in different capacities here in Charlotte, praying with, clothing, providing them with resources, providing them with housing. I got my boots on the ground. I got my boots on the ground. I'm not qualified, but I'm running. I'm not qualified, but I'm running. I'm doing supernaturally what I couldn't do with my own strength. I got my boots on the ground. I got my boots on the ground. I got my boots on the ground. Get ready to compete with the horses. No more tears. No more crying. No more complaining. No more being afraid. Rise up, children of God. The horses are coming. The horses are coming. And if you let them, they'll wear you out. They will wear you out. I got my boots on the ground. Run with the horses. High five your neighbor and tell him, get your boots on the ground. 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 It hadn't been easy. It hadn't been easy. Life hadn't dealt you the best hand. Life hadn't dealt you the best hand. And sometimes you may have wanted to throw the towel in. You may have wanted to throw the towel in. Give it all up. Because you thought it'd be easier if you wasn't here. But God. But God. Those nights you cried yourself to sleep. But God. But God. Tossed and turned all night long. But God. Look at your bank account. You got more month left than you got money. But God. But God. You get ready to lay down at night, and the only thing on your other side is that remote and those snacks. It gets lonely there. It gets lonely there. I've been there. It gets lonely there. Keep your boots on the ground. Keep your boots on the ground. You walked into that job and you didn't know if that was going to be your last day. But God, keep your boots on the ground. Keep your boots on the ground. You got to be able to run with the horsemen. The footmen are here. And it's a lot of them. It's a lot of problems. It's a lot of them. They don't have much strength. They don't have much power. But it's a lot of them. And they'll wear you out if you let them. And they'll wear you out if you let them. They will wear you out if you let them. Got to keep your boots on the ground. Can we stand?